Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you are on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. My guest today is just a tremendously underrated singer and songwriter. You certainly know him from his former band, Enough's Enough, but he's also put out a bunch of great solo records, including a brand new release called Beautiful Things. Please welcome one of my favorite singers, Donnie Vie. Donnie, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Now, let's start with the new record, Beautiful Things. It's your first record in 4 years. Talk a bit about how the record came together and just some of the amazing guest stars you have on it.
Well, the record, like I've said in a few other ones, that I had a little down period there where, things just got too ugly and just got too, it's just a downward spiral with the band after a point, and so, you get to a point where, you eventually got to reach the bottom, and then maybe even wait out a couple more trapdoors that fall through the bottom of that. But then you got to say to yourself, listen, everything I'm doing, to this point isn't working for me anymore, and so it took some time to reevaluate, get my priorities straight, my head out of my ass, and just try to take some me time without any of that and stuff, and just try to get healthy and stuff so I can continue to do this, and during that whole time, that whatever sends me the songs decided to shut those off for a while, but once it was time and I was ready, the floodgates opened right back up and it all came together really quickly.
And I know you have Paul Gilbert guesting on a song, or some of the other people you have playing on it with you.
Well, Paul Gilbert's a great friend of mine. Yeah, he did a great job on Beautiful Things. And Roger Joseph Manning from Jellyfish. I'm a huge Roger fan.
Another really underrated band.
Yeah, he's been in a few other things. He's just amazing. What he did on I Could Save the World just blows me away. And there's Matt Walker from Garbage and Beck and Morrissey. He's on the drums. There's Jay O'Rourke. He's a big artist in Chicago. He's playing guitar with my buddy Phil Angotti, who's a big artist in Chicago. He's singing backgrounds with me. See who else is there. Uh-oh. People are going to be mad because names are escaping me. I'm an old man. I can't remember my own name.
Yell them out as we go through the interview.
Yeah, there's a lot of good guys all got together. And it turned. I'm used to being in a gang, but this was a different kind of gang that was really functional.
And one thing I really get into with the record, and a lot of your solo work in general, is just sort of the lushness of the sound. It's very kind of late era Beatles. Do you enjoy that creativity of the studio and bringing those sounds and textures? That's where my passion lies, is in the studio with writing and recording, and because it's like the closest thing that you could ever find to actual real magic, that not like hocus, not like, me smoking mirrors, but it's actually, some of these things, it's like the way you stumble onto something and you try this and you try that, and all of a sudden you try something else and it's just like, that's it. And it just clicks together, and I always follow the song. I get the song idea from I don't know where. And then what I do is I listen to the idea and I follow it. Instead of lead it, I follow it, and I see where it wants to go, and so then I go down that road with it, and then my job is to just like they're little creations, they're little lives that I look at it. Have all my little children these songs, and so like the children, your job is to send them out in the world in the best shape and presentation that they can give. And yeah, I love harmonies. I love melodies. I love hooks. I love all that stuff. And Beatles was a big influence. Motown, all kinds of really cool stuff. And where I kind of grew up from a tiny kid, studying the craftsmanship of a well constructed song. If for the first part of it, I believe a song should be able to be played on the instrument that you wrote it on, by just with that and a vocal, and still be the song. That is
there's a lot of things that might not necessarily be that case, but at least in my case, you know, I don't know if people want to call it like late era Beatles or this and that. I mean, it just is, it is what I do, and it's now the character, or lack of a better word, of what I've developed into, and you know, and that it is what it is, you know. I'm glad people like it.
Well, like I said, you mentioned how, you know, songs should be able to be played on just the instrument you wrote it on. And I think that really speaks to just the quality of the song and sort of that gift of melody that you bring to it, that the song sounds just as good stripped back on either, you know, an acoustic guitar or a piano as it did with all the studio production. And that's where a lot of your live performances sort of lie now, is kind of that one-on-one, you know, stripping the song back to its melody.
Yeah, well, that's like I said, the melodies are my favorite things, and you know, I have to like what I'm doing to continue to do it. I have to like the song, you know. If there's something about it that's not ready, or something about it that's not quite right, or if I'm, you know, struggling with it, you know, it's gotta get out of the way for something else that is ready to go. And you know, like with this record, there's a bunch of stuff. You write a bunch of things for a record, and as there's better ones going to the top, you know, some have to fall out of the bottom, unfortunately, and a lot of times they don't get attended to for a long time, because, you know, your next venture, you're into your next batch of stuff, and I try to always make it a point that to evolve. I want to evolve. I need to evolve, and I need to bring it to a new thing. Hence for the quote of the cheesy word, but to a new place, and maybe not necessarily something that's mountains different and, you know, just reinvented or anything, but at least somewhere that I haven't touched upon yet. And, you know, whether it's a melody or it's a hook, I mean, I found a million melodies to the same. There's only a few, you know, there's a couple dozen chords, you know, and there's you know, to find on that 20 plus records worth of songs now. And so, you know, it gets I would say it gets to be tricky, but it really doesn't. Not for me. The ideas are come from somewhere else, and I'm so blessed and lucky that happens. And you know, then it's just my job not to fuck it up.
Well, that's a pretty important job. Do you ever find yourself going back and grabbing a song that, you know, maybe didn't make it onto a project and reworking it for something new?
Yeah, absolutely. On the Beautiful Things record, there's a song on there called Falling Through the Pages that I've always had. I always liked the chorus to it, and it's been sitting around there for, you know, many years. I forgot all about it. So that's why you got little, you know, recording devices and things like that. But, I mean, at the time where I wrote a lot of that, we didn't have, like, the little cell phone thing you can click on right now. It's got the voice recorder. I got a million little things in that. And so I just happened to be, a buddy of mine turned me on to like a hard drive with like everything I've ever done. I mean, this guy had everything, demos, old stuff, like song ideas. I don't know where he got, kind of creepy actually, where he came up with that stuff. But I was listening through, I was listening, and I don't have, you know, I was listening through some of it, and I just came upon a couple of these ones, and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot about that one. I always liked that one, and now I was in a better place or a better state of mind or ready for it. And, you know, that's how those resurface. And, you know, like I said, it's magical. I never would have thought of that song again, probably, had it not been for the hard drive, you know. So, yeah, you come back to things like, you know, ones that just didn't quite, you know, because, like, there's no songs that I come up with an idea or something like that aren't worth something, you know, or otherwise I don't spend more than 2 minutes on it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so if it's there, I know that there's something there about it. So you take another look at it, and it's not necessarily because out of the need for stuff, for material, because, you know, I always had plenty of that, but sometimes it's a need for what is this record where does this need to flow to? Where is it not? What's needed there? Well, okay, well, we need this. Okay, well, we'll go and check that out. But what's needed there might not always be the best song, but it's the right song.
Right. And one thing with Beautiful Things, too, is, honestly, it sounds like you're having fun on this record. And that really comes through in a lot of the songs. So, I mean, you talked a little bit earlier how, it was a rough time before, but as you're, putting this record together, I mean, are you feeling good in the studio? I mean, is there, a lightness that creates these songs?
Well, I can't say that I ever feel very good. Mm-hmm. I haven't been too good to myself throughout the years, and now I'm just kind of like working with what I have left. Like a guy that comes home from war with one arm shot off, a foot shot off, an ear shot off, but you still got to make it through life. So, and it was like I said, there was a big down period, and then I was very recharged once. I got rid of hepatitis C and teeth fixed, got all my legal shit out of the way, got out of that depressive mode, got surrounded by good people, my family, everybody again. Got rid of this crazy girlfriend shit that I was dealing with all my life. I've been haven't been single since my babysitter, and it's like it was just a rejuvenated feeling, and everything it was like fresh, like the day I recorded my first song. And so yeah, it was a labor of love, and it was quick, and I can't say that I felt the best, because I was just in a hospital earlier this year with pancreas liquefied on me, and so it turns out that I'd been sick for like a year, and I didn't know that. So I didn't feel real good, physically, but everything else, that's mind over matter. And I was really excited and really happy making the record. And I worked with my old friend, Mike Dolan, who co-produced it with me. And I had all these great players and great cats that wanted to be involved, and wanted to be part of it. And that's, just very blessed and very fortunate in that situation. And everybody's, it's really, really a really wide range of performers on this. Like Paul Gilbert, look what he does, He's like guitar, I think what he does on a guitar, I consider more of a sport than music. It's like how can you use that many notes in a second? Okay, well, it should be in the Olympics. Yeah, he should be in the Olympics, but then you got, the Jellyfish guy, then you got the guy from Garbage, and there's like the bass player that played on a few of the songs, Mike LaPont. He's in a band called Symphony X, and his other thing is some death metal thing, some death metal shit, But he was a friend of a friend, and he's now a friend of mine, and he blew me away. He's like, wow, I'm really impressed, and I can't believe he did that, and it was so good, and I got to be good, and so it was a really cool experience.
And now, changing gears a little bit, as great as those early Enough's Enough records were, I mean, some of my favorites were the later ones, like Paraphernalia and Dissonance, that never really got a shot in the market. And we always hear how the internet's killing the record business. But for somebody like you, I think it's easier for someone who's hearing this interview now, to click over to their Amazon or their Spotify and listen to Beautiful Things than it was for someone in the late 90s to go to a store and find Paraphernalia on the rack. What are your thoughts about how music is consumed now as opposed to, traditionally?
Well, it'll be a lot easier to click on it as long as you got your shit together and you got some followers and somebody can hear it and you click over. And it's a lot different. It's good and it's not as good. There's things about it that were better in the old days. There were DJs. You had a fighting chance if you kicked fucking ass. And you had a chance, and somebody like a lot of DJs and a lot of people, and just like you said, I mean, every interview I've been doing and everyone that's heard this record, and most of my records has really liked them and really expressed that. And but in the old days, remember you get a record, and you got a picture on the cover, maybe one on the back, and that's all you know about these guys. maybe a little interview or something you read, which is all edited and, you know, publicist approved and shit. And nowadays, you know, you can be out on the road and, you know, if you're a lady, let you know that you just were, there's 27 pictures of you making out with these 3 18-year-olds before you even remember that you did it. You know, it's crazy. And it is oversaturated because, you know, in the internet and YouTube and stuff, you'll have 50 million likes on some black chick eating a pickle, you know, tapping her fingernails on the fucking desk or something. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's so great." And there's great music and great artists and stuff that are kind of buried or peppered in there, you know, that you have to almost trip over them to find, unless they become one of these things. But once they do, if they do catch on, you don't have the you know, the rigmarole of you know, the politics of a record label and all of, you know, along with your own choices, which you have to live with. You're living with their choices. You're living with, you know, and it can get to a night up to a lot of shit. And then, like, just like what happened with Enough's Enough, once things imploded within the record labels, the major labels, and the era, and in with the out, in with the bad, in with new, you know, out with the old, in with the new and stuff. You get a band like Enough's Enough to get, you know, caught in the middle of that and shoved, you know, to the back of the pack. I always thought was a travesty, you know, but it was what it was, and you know, you can't look, you know, to the past constantly, and if this would have happened or if that would have happened, I wish I'd have done this, because that's you're ruining tomorrow, and every, you know, like, I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever done. I've done a lot of shameful things. Other people think so, but it's I'm here today talking to you on your station, and I would not had something be different, you know. Everything would be different. Who knows, better, good or bad, you know. Could have been really good, I'd be dead.
Well, if it'd been really good to probably be talking to somebody other than me.
yeah. Be talking to my parents, my family, or not parents, I didn't have them, but my family, you know, just giving them your condolences.
And, you know, there is a downside to the internet, though, in terms, aside from just kind of having to wade through everything that's in it. I mean, you were one of a ton of artists really impacted by the PledgeMusic collapse. How did that affect the release of the record? I mean, I know you got that pretty hard.
Yeah, that did hit hard. That was, I think, a wonderful and brilliant concept to be able to get right in direct contact with the people who want to hear your stuff and want to buy your stuff and love your stuff, that they can pay for it in advance and actually pay for it to help it make it, you know, as opposed to having to hustle and do this. You know, a lot of those Enough's Enough records, after we only had 3 on major labels, and all the rest of that stuff, it was ingenuity and wheeling and dealing and hustling and this and that to get those made, you know, and lots of favors, and, you know, and you use those up, and then you got to find new favors, and, you know, it gets to wear thin on the band and things like that. And but I forgot what the question.
the PledgeMusic mess.
Oh yeah, so we went with that, and which I was always thinking about doing it for a while, you know, and but, you know, I was kind of fucked up, so I wasn't in social media. I wasn't really aware how the things worked like that, and I was kind of on my own. I didn't have many people around me because of the way I lived my life, and so, you know, I just decided to go about that, and just my luck, of course. As soon as I get there, you know, everything turns to fucking shit.
Broke it.
It's like I'm the Midas touch of shit. You know what I mean? As soon as I fucking touch something, it turns from gold into a turd. You know, and they happen to they took all the money, all our fans' money, every other artist's fans' money, and everything, and just bolted. And just one day they were gone, and all of them. And you know, when you get the PledgeMusic, wasn't just you get the money in from the fans and they give it to you. That's not how that worked. It's like you get the money from the fans. You set a goal after that goal, which we far exceeded the goal. We like doubled the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you got to do is they delegate out a little bit of money to help you get started and this and that. And so everybody who's on board has to understand that when we get this finished, you know, everybody gets paid because all these, except I never expected to make a penny. I didn't care about that. You know, I just wanted to get the record made. So there are people like a producer and an engineer and place and food and other players and housing and all that stuff that do have to be paid. That's not free. And so when that happens, something like that, the pledge happens, the whole fucking shit just goes down. And, you know, and the people who aren't with pledge that are just there to help you make your record, you're the one that's, you know, they're not going after pledge. They're coming after you, you know, and a lot. And from what I understand, I guess almost every artist just had to bite the bullet, and their fans did as well. Well, we were 30 in the red already with the pledge doing that to us, and the fans have been so wonderful, and they've been so supportive, and I love them so much that, and my sister and I were kind of running the show. I decided, you know, well, what's a few more grand to make sure that these people get what they paid for and keep them around and be able to continue to do this. And so that's what we did, and we honored the pledge. And some of them are still complaining because there's some snail mail some places, you know. When you're in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and you live in a cornfield, your CD's not going to get there as fast as Joe in Chicago, you know, or something like that, you know. And so you hear it, but it's like you got to tell them, hey, shut the fuck up, man. We're doing it. We take care of it. You got to put postage, and you got to put envelopes, address them all. We'll go through the emails, find all the names, all of that shit. And that's a lot of fucking shit to do. And Pledge is supposed to do all of that and this and that. And at the end, they take a certain percentage. Well, I didn't think they take everything and just leave. And, you know, it's like, you know, you live and you learn. Next time you get a gun, you go there with a gun and say, listen, if anything happens to go wrong,
we'll take care of it.
Yeah, got a bullet on the desk. This goes in your fucking knee, you know. And so, but next time I think going around, I think what my plan is seeing as how we had gotten all of these names together and had for all the sending it out and stuff, I can start off with a more direct approach to fans of just directly contact them all and say, hey, we're going to do this again. Hope you were happy with the results of the last one. And we're going to do it again, but there's no chance of that happening. And you know, the fans, they don't know what Pledge did. They don't know how that operates. They think when they send in their money, they think they're supporting, and they think the money's going right to you, and it's to help you and to support you and shit. But it doesn't work that way. But it will when we go directly to them.
Yeah, and I think it's important for the fans to know, most of them do and appreciate that, you know, you and, you know, some of the other artists, I talked to Michael Wilton from Queensryche about this, you guys finish this off on your own dime. So, I mean, I think that says a lot about what the fans mean to you. You know,
a lot of
went
dimes.
Through everything you
a lot of dimes.
Yeah.
Like a wheelbarrow full of dimes. Yeah, it does. They do. You know, I really don't think, you know, some of the very, like the first record when we were all of a sudden, you know, number one on this and that, and we're all over everywhere. You know, a lot of those fans are like, quote unquote, I'm not to belittle anything or condescend, but quote unquote, the cattle that, you know, that you know, one, you know, it starts a fad and other people catch on and you know, and they're there and they, you know, but then, you know, you don't have the machine behind it. They don't know you still exist. As far as they're concerned, you die in a plane crash. It's time to go listen to these guys or that guy. But most of the fans, my fans are a little bit deeper and more broken people than a lot of those that we're looking for meaning and we're looking for empathy and something to relate to. And they let me know all the time that you saved my life. You changed my life. I couldn't have got through this without you, this and that. And that's worth more than all the money in the world. But I haven't really lost any, except the ones, you know, I'm old now, so eventually, of course, some die, you know, because we're old and stuff. But that's the only way that they're losing them and getting their kids and their grandkids, and it's like they're, you know, they're still there with me, so I'm still there with them.
What does it mean to you, you know, when you're going through that dark place that you were in, to have someone come to you and say, you know, what you did got me out of my dark place. You know, what does that mean to you when someone lets you know
that means everything in the world to me, because when I'm sitting there in a dark place and you know, when you're in a dark and lonely world like I was living in, you know, it's very, very ugly. And there's not a whole lot around you at the times when you step off the stage and you're not, you know, and you step into, you know, off the bus in the back at home, like, what do you do? And then, you know, have the magnitude of what you know, what's happening to your life and what you've done to it and what you're doing to it really sinks in. And so you're sitting there writing a song, that's how I vent my emotions and stuff, to make me sort of let them go a little bit. My whole intention, my whole wish and prayer is that this song somehow finds at least one guy or one girl that's sitting out there feeling the same exact way. And if not, to cheer them on and say, you know, hey, this is you can make this all better and give advice and stuff, because I'm no one to do that. Just to say, hey, listen, you know, I'm here too, doing the same exact thing, and let's get through this together. And it's healthy for me. It's great for me. It's great for them, and that's what I set out to do. That's my goal with the songs. Money has never been. I've never been a rock star. I've always been an artist first, and then I became a huge humanitarian. You know, I got, my heart is a mile wide. You know, and it bleeds, and it bleeds through musically out of my mouth and my soul, and if it can reach somebody, like, you know, one person could tell you that you saved my life. You literally saved my life, and the ripple effect from that, you know, that's worth more than all. That makes your whole career worth what you've done.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure with the songs you've written over the years, you've had quite a few people come up to you with that. So,
you can go on my page. You can go on my page. There's you know, every post, there's a bunch of them.
And that also, you put out a video a little while back, John Lennon cover, that where some of it was bringing awareness for suicide prevention and things like that. I don't know if you want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, that was we chose anti-bullying for that. How that started was I had Instant Karma recorded, because I do record certain songs just to keep my chops up and to keep in vocal shape, and to work on my skills on playing this or that, you know, keeping the song structures and my own methods of doing things, to keep improving and keep exercising and stuff. So Instant Karma was one of those. It was sitting around, and like I said, I was in the hospital, and I was kind of getting antsy, like, you know, we're already, we announced this thing and stuff, and I don't know if I'm going to live through this, and I don't know, I feel like time is wasting, and that was, so, you know, I was trying to think of something to do, and so all right, well, you know, Instant Karma's sitting there, and it's done really well, and so let's maybe throw that out as something that ties them by, and then a few good friends really rose to the occasion to help me, and, you know, to make the video and put a grand piano out in the middle of the lake, you know, and all of the other ones, the studio and all the cute chicks singing along with me on the song and everything, and that it all came together as like a project constructed of purely out of love, you know. And then it was a John Lennon song, so, you know, it can't go on my record, and it's like I didn't write it, so I'm not going to collect a penny for it, and I don't want to collect a penny for it. I just want it for what it is, and start with what would John Lennon want me to do with it, and that was obviously help, do some kind of help with it, and so, you know, we started looking around and see what kind of things are out there that are really heavy that you just don't hear about much, you know, and you know, and when we came across that, I was like, the statistics on that were astounding. It's like 1/3 of all of the youthful deaths today, at least in the United States and like Europe and stuff, come from suicide. Half of those are due to being bullied and stuff. I lost 2 cousins that way. I was bullied actually 3 cousins that way due to bullying. And then at the end, I roll some credits just to show the ages of some of these kids, like 9 years old, killing himself. You know, my nephew's 11. He doesn't even know the name of it. He doesn't even know what suicide means. You know, and it's like for the 9-year-old up to like 13. So most of them were right in that area, like 12, 13. It's like, Jesus, this is fucked up. And you know, and so it's, you know, obviously I'm not gonna change the world with cancer or anything like that. I'm not gonna change the world with the anti-bullying or anything. But it's, I can try to just do my little part in something, and hopefully, you know, it can, if it, you know, like I said, if it brings 1 or 2 people at the minimum, you know, to the party, then you did your job. And, you know, when they were shopping the thing to a couple of different organizations, one of them actually, when they inquired who the artist was, they told them, and they were like, nope, we do not want him representing our thing, you know, not that guy. He's anybody but that guy. That's like Jesus. You know, but it, you know, it is what it is. And then Japan, you know, they always want a bonus track. So there it was, you know, with a video. And here in the States, I guess if you buy there's a thing called Merch Bucket, I guess. I'm not really familiar with all of that, but if you buy like the Merch Bucket package, you get the link to the video and the song and everything. So, you know, that's out there, and it's a cool thing.
And people can go to your website, DonnieVie.com, to get more information on picking up the record and the packages and, you know, the instant
That's what they tell
video.
Me.
Yeah, as well as the video for If I Could Save the World off of Beautiful Things.
You can get it. Grizzly Grill is our publishing company. I know it sounds goofy, but that's a character my grandfather created before he passed away, and so he called it that. And, you know, my website, the Merch Bucket, Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, you know, anywhere you can get a record, you know, and the space CDs are pretty much a thing of the past now. They've joined the ranks of 8-track cassettes and all that stuff. So, you know, but you know, you can get it anywhere.
And will you be doing any live shows for the tour? I know you've done some really great, like, kind of storyteller type shows. Will you be doing either any of those or anything with the band?
Well, yeah, I got a really good booking agent. They're called M7, and they book really cool stuff, like, you know, the Babies or the Raspberries or some things like that. You know, stuff in my genre. Yeah. You know, I got out of the clown car. You know what I mean? So now it's like, no disrespect to the band or any of those bands, but that just wasn't my arena, ever was. And you know, I'm such a windbag. Can you refresh me of what this? Oh, the live band. Yeah. And so I was talking to them M7 and just the other day, and we were discussing, you know, it's time to support this thing. And, you know, I was planning on doing a bunch of that storyteller thing, but they're saying, you know, there's you know, we'll do better with the live band. And so, you know, I had every intention of putting a live band together, but for the guys I'm not getting guys that would pay $100 a show. You know what I mean? So these guys got to be top-notch dudes. You got to be able to pay them. You got to be able to get them there, expenses, all that stuff. So you have to make a decent, you know, amount of cash per show to take care of that. Well, that's what they're discussing and talking about, and it seems to be like that we're starting to get there to be able to do that now, and so that's the thing of putting a live band together as we speak, and get out there and play it, and then in between some big shows, you know, I'll do the storytellers thing, but I'm not getting on a tour bus ever again unless there's a huge reason to, and going from town to town and playing a good show a week or 2 good shows a week, and then have 5 days of absolute, you know, 50 people in a 400-seat place and stuff like that, and making $750, you know, just to pay the gas for the bus and shit like that. You know, it's just, that's too disheartening. It's too detrimental to my health, to my sobriety, to everything that I've managed to accomplish in the last few years. You're always one one good time away from the bad times, and we don't need that happening. So that's, don't need that. There's no point in that. And so I'd like to, make the shows like more of events, so you need to be at this one because this one's within 500 miles of you. Mm-hmm. So you need to be at this or you won't be at one, and so it's just the way it is,
Well, Donnie, I can't thank you enough for taking some time out here today. It was a real pleasure getting to know you and chat with you on here. Beautiful Things is the record. It's great. If you're a fan, it's exactly what you were hoping it would be. It's out everywhere now. Check it out on DonnieVie.com. Hope to catch you on the road when you come out to the East Coast. Would love to check out the show and say hello. And
I'll stay at your house.
You got it, man. You got plenty of room.
Yeah. Make sure you got pizza. Make sure
Always.
You got pizza.
Down in Connecticut. Play Hartford. You could stay at the house. Mm-hmm.
Jeff, thank you so much for thinking of me and calling and and all of your listeners or followers and stuff. I hope that they like the record and I'm adding your name up next to the contact now, so I will have it. You have mine, and so anything you ever need a spot or some buffoonery or something, that fill a minute or two or something, you have a question, feel free to call me.
And same with you, man. When you get any dates out, anything like that, let me know. We will blast it out to everyone who will listen. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You have a great day.
You too. Bye.